We're gonna be having you speak next time. Since you're feeding out my marketing dollars.
Hey.
Top dog. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. No. What she's doing is what y'all supposed to be doing. Y'all came here to meet everybody and to network off of all the stuff. Just like he just got the mechanic number. There's some people here that got different skills and stuff that everybody can benefit from. Y'all not just truckers. People got side hustles. People got all different types of connections. This right here. Hello? Hey, we wrapping up, 7 o'clock. We're going to start cleaning up. Okay. No problem. Alright, that's what we gotta do to it. Alright, number one. Screen not here. It'll be here next time. I ordered it over 3 weeks ago. It didn't come. On my website, I wanted to go through all this stuff. Y'all got all 7 of these books for free. This is my first book, How to Make $250,000 a Year with a Criminal Record and No College Degree, because I was marketing to a specific group of people, because those are the individuals that were left out. All of us were going back and forth to jail because we were trying to get some money, and that was the most available way to get it. It was right in front of your doorstep. All you had to do was come outside. Everybody was getting to it, and that's what we chose to do. And it ruined a lot of our lives. Some of us, it made us better people. But I figured out how to get all that stuff, how to live a certain type of lifestyle that I was chasing through drugs, but I'm doing it legally now, and I don't have the consequences, and I'm coming back to show everybody how to do it. Anybody can make $250,000 a year. First off, that's not a lot of money when you're talking business. $5,000 a year, 52 weeks, that's your $250 right there. My first year not knowing anything, with nobody to call, I did $277 with my own personal truck. I had a notebook. I wrote down every single load I did by hand and tallied it up like that. You can make more money than that. We're going to talk about that in a few. Authority, the high pursuit, the authority cheat sheet. When you open this book on my website, this is not a book. This is the authority application filled out for you, so you don't have to pay nobody. You can. I pay people to do this stuff. If y'all think I'm sitting in front of a computer, I'm not. I'm sorry. That's why we got a phone and an iPad instead of that GoPro stuff over there, because I don't know how to work it, and my cameraman in Mississippi. So I paid a FMCSA employee to fill out the application for y'all with my company. So all you have to do is go on the website, look at this, and look at the real application. Fill in the answers exactly how it is, and you don't have to pay somebody. It'll take you less than a half an hour. It'll save you a few $100s, depending on who you're using, or a couple $100. Everybody don't charge the same. Truckloads 101. This is a math textbook that takes real loads with my rate confirmations. Because like earlier, we had a dude say he came, wanted to see if I was bluffing or if I was telling the truth. You open this book online, those are real rate confirmations with my telephone number, MC, nothing's blanked out. You can call those shippers if you want to. Just please don't embarrass me and put my name in the stuff and having a bunch of ignorant phone calls. Not calling y'all ignorant. I'm saying if you were to do this, that would be an ignorant move. To call these people talking about truck king, whatever, and making me look bad. That information is real. You can call those shippers, look for loads and all that stuff. I take real loads, break them down by map, showing the miles and the tolls with an app I used to use called Toll Guru. And I do the math for you, showing this is the gross, this is the fuel, these are the tolls, this is what's left. Then I leave a blank page for you to plug in the answers as well, so you can get used to evaluating loads like I just showed you on the load board. Cool if a load pays $8,000, but what's your profit? You gotta know how to bust the miles down so you can know how much it'll cost you to complete the load. This is what this shows you. When the projector get here, we'll be able to do it. This book right here is worth $2,000. Why? Because I paid a research company $2,000 to compile a list of every freight broker in the United States and put them in order with address, name, and telephone number. This is not a book, this is a list that costs money to make and is invaluable to y'all. But you really don't need it. That's extra credit. If you're on the load board, it's going to pull up all the brokers you want. or if you want to start establishing personal relationships or calling just to see what they got so you can get familiar with the lanes and all of this stuff, you can feel free to do it. Or if you're in prison and you need some motivation, like I was trying to get math books and stuff that they refused, this is something you can use to get to it. Hood Rich, how to travel for free and make $400,000 to $500,000 a year. After I did my 250 and got in the gang, got my feet wet, I always wanted to travel, see the country, get out of Baltimore, do all type of stuff, eat all type of foods. I got a chance to do all that. Once I learned that stuff and got fluent out here navigating through these loads, I documented all that stuff, showed y'all, and added the stuff that's not in the first book. However, I'm a special education child, okay? You don't have to be real smart to know this stuff. That's why I was talking about mindset earlier. I can halfway read. I can't even really spell. If you was to look at my handwriting, you wouldn't be able to understand it. They couldn't translate this. After spending $5,000 and going through teachers and publishers and editors, they couldn't understand my handwriting, so I had to redo this verbally and have it retranslated, which is why I made this, because I came up with new information that expounded on this stuff, including all of that stuff is in here. You can make, I made $518,000 this year. This year just ended. All right, when you open these books online, you'll see a graph of my factoring. That is not something I made up. That is a screenshot from my factoring, TAFS, T-A-F-S. All right, that shows you my whole year breakdown. Only thing you gotta X out is the fuel cost, because they have a fuel card and I have different fuel cards. So they don't have a fuel tally, but all of my loads will run through them except for maybe 6 or 7 loads that I got paid directly from the shipper because they didn't deal with my factoring company. They were new companies. I took a chance on them and got paid. So that's what this is. You can do this. If you make $8,000 a week, which is not hard to do, that's $400,000 in a year. Most people not gonna make $500,000. I cut out a lot of stuff. I've been out on the road and going hard and staying out there. I ain't been home since Christmas. I left the week following Christmas, and I only came home to get my truck painted. If I don't care about holidays, birthdays, none of that stuff. I'm a workaholic, and that's what it is. If I was doing something illegal, I'd be putting my all into it, so I'm putting up my all in the trucking, and this is the result. Most people not gonna make it $500,000. Anybody can do the 250, and that's gross. What you keep is depending on the type of truck you got, the mechanics you're dealing with, and where you're running. That's gonna bust down your fuel costs. Then you deal with your taxes at the end of the year. Or you got up to, I had an accountant here earlier, she said 3, I know it was between 2 or 3, but you got between 2 or 3 years before you have to file, before you start getting in trouble with the IRS. But you're gonna wanna stay on top of your taxes. Every single receipt that you ever get, I put it in my back pocket. Staples sells bank Ziplocs, the blue bags that they keep money in. I put all my receipts in there, give them to the accountant, and they figure out what's good and what's not, and they tally up everything. The raw truth about trucking, somebody was here earlier said, I want to know the bad stuff, because people don't tell me. So I put it all in here so you can see the downfalls, because it's not all on up and up. This is not, well, life in general, it's not a straight up and down ride, it's a roller coaster. So you're going to have trials and errors in trucking, and most people don't talk about it. If you start from zero, you just got out of prison, you got no money, no CDL, you got a driver's license. All this can be done in 3 steps. 4 phases, but it's 3 steps. There's only 3 steps in trucking. Company driver, owner operator, owner authority. You can move on to having fleets and all that stuff if you want to. I'm not going to advise nobody to do that. And I have people, I tell them that, and then say, all right. And then they call me back when they're getting in the jam. After you trying to get me to get you out of something that I advise you not to do it. So people are adults, I tell them stuff based off of my experience and the experience of others. They go do what they want to do, and then when they get in the jam, they call me trying to get out of it. But if you start off, this is the whole of trucking, all this shit you don't even need it. 1 page. This whole book, if you text 85 to that 855-675-0609 number, I emailed this to you about a month ago. At the beginning of the month, I'm going to resend it because I don't want to keep sending it to everybody. And the list doesn't differentiate who's new and who's not. You start off as a company driver. You can get your CDL for free if you're willing to go over the road. You can go to a trade school. You used to be able to get trained by a person. That's no longer as of February the 7th. That's why we stopped the free training back then. We was doing that until the law changed. Now you have to go to a school. I am a certified school. People who need training, I can personally train you. I do one-on-ones. I don't do group sessions. But the reason I'm saying that, you get your CDL, you want to get 6 months experience. Anywhere between 3 to 6 months experience. Why? Same way I tell people don't ever buy a truck without a CDL, which we about to get into. You need to learn how to drive the truck before you buy one, and it's better to learn on the big company's dime. Don't go mess your homeboy truck up. Give it one of these big companies that can absorb the pain. Learn how to drive, because there's some things you can only learn by fucking up, and those fuck ups cost you thousands of dollars. You follow me? Drive for a company 3 to 6 months. Learn how to maneuver, then get your truck. Become an owner-operator. Owner-operator is somebody who owns the truck, but not the company. They normally don't have a trailer. They buy a truck. They're responsible for the truck, the fuel, the maintenance. They lease onto a company. It's normally a 70-30 split or 75-25. You got a homeboy, your homegirl or something with their own authority. They may do a 10% deal with you. That's a lookout, so don't burn your peoples when they try to look out for you, because that's the best it's going to get. You can become an owner-operator. Who was I telling I was going to say how you can get into it with no money? If you go on my website, you can look and see I got a list under the useful link section that says no money down trucks. Or you can go straight to Google and type in highest paying lease purchase truck programs. Hundreds of them will come up. The same way they'll fly you out like you did and got your CDL for free, they'll do the same thing with people who want to own trucks. Now, what's the issue with this? Some companies lie, so they get a bad rap. I've made money with all of them. Most I've made as an owner-operator was $7,600 in 1 week. All right, these are walk-away leases. They fly you out, put you in a hotel, send you through orientation. You get to pick out a truck. They used to give you brand new trucks. It's a 75-35, 75-25, 70-30, whatever the split is. Some of these are bad apples. You get with a bad company, they promise you all this. Give them 6 weeks. If they ain't staying, if you ain't making $2,500, $3,000, $3,500, and after 6 weeks, leave. Dispatchers play a big role in this, because if you're always trying to go home, you're always turning down loads, you're going to be on that shit list. They have no incentive to help you because you're not helping them. So a lot of people who say they're not making money with these owner-operated companies as the lease program, it's because of their communication with the dispatcher. I've made money with every last one I've done. I haven't lost money with none of them. Besides the lease, there are companies where you come in with your own truck. If you don't have money to buy a truck, the lease is the fastest way to get your money up. You can buy a truck if your finances is together, you got money to cash out, or you got credit where you can finance a truck. They normally want anywhere between 30 to 40% down on the truck. Now, when I started, 20 to 25 was getting 30 if you had bad credit. We was getting $20,000 trucks, giving them 5, stuff like that. Them days is kind of over. As I talked about earlier, as this market starts to shift, I believe that stuff coming back, and even more gimmicky products than that. When you get in this owner-operator field, and you're making $2,500, $3,000, $3,500, save up $300 a week for a year. That's what gets you $15,000. When you get your truck, that's half the battle. Only thing you need to get into that last phase is a trailer and an insurance down payment. Insurance is normally $3,000 to $5,000 down for the insurance, unless you have some type of a trouble history. This 6 months, this is a year. Now you got your own authority. You either purchase a trailer because you already had a truck, or you lease one. It's a company called Coop. Ryder and Pensy is going to require more paperwork, and they're going to require high down payments. It's a company called Coop, COOP.com. It's a division of Ryder. It's not Ryder. It's their form of an Airbnb or a Toro for tractors and trailers. These are people who own trucks and trailers. They give them to administer the lease. They're not owned by Ryder. They're owned by people. All right, when you do that, you can get in there. I seen trucks on there $130 a day, up to $200, depending on what truck you got. I've seen trailers for $30 a day. Once you become having your own authority and is active, save $10,000, please. Maintenance is not an if, it's a when, and it always comes at the most inconvenient times. You don't have to have $10,000 cash. Get you some credit. We're gonna talk more in depth about this stuff over here. But 10 will get you out of most jams, unless it's something high power. If you purchase your truck correctly, your engine, transmission, and your rear should be under warranty, depending on how you purchase the truck. If you're real lucky, you got your after treatment system warranty, which I don't suggest anybody get trucks that have DEF in it, unless you live in California or something. But if you do, make sure it's under warranty, because that could cause a whole lot of problems, and that's going to cost you more than 10 grand. Especially when people don't even know the system because it's new and they guessing. And every time they guess, they're going to be charged. After you've done that, then upgrade your life. That's the whole of trucking there, one page. But I'm going to break all this stuff down step by step so y'all can get into it and so you can understand it. And everybody is going to, this booklet right here, everybody is going to get this. So I got 21 steps here. 1, get your CDL. Please don't get a truck without a CDL. I'm going to expound on all of this. I'm telling you what they are first. Your legal structure, setting up your incorporation and all of that stuff. Your EIN number, your operating authority, getting on the load boards, your truck and trailer, insurance, vehicle state inspections, not DOT inspections. Tags, which are your portion plate, your 2290, which is your heavy highway use tax, your IFTA, which is your international fuel tax. You got to pay that quarterly. You can pay it yearly, but you can't go over a year. They'll freeze your account. Factoring companies, which are brokers, pay you on a net 30, some of them net 28, somewhere around there. Some of them have a quick pay, but that costs you a percentage. Factoring companies will pay you the same day or the next day, and they have fuel cards. We're going to expound into that after I get through this list. We're going to go through each one on one. Fuel cards. Most factoring companies have fuel cards, but every major truck stop has fuel cards, and there's truck fuel card companies. I suggest you get as many as you can as possible, because if you're starting off and you put every dollar you got to get started, it'll ease the pain. But you have to manage these responsibly, because they do want their money back, and it helps with your business credit, depending on which one you get if they report. Charge accounts. Similar to fuel cards, but there's different accounts you can get, like maintenance accounts. You don't have to pay for maintenance out of pocket. You can charge it. They'll open accounts for you. Tire accounts, tool accounts, all of this stuff. Work 21 days late, 21 days local. When you activate your operating authority, first off, your operating authority is 2 things: your motor carrier number and your DOT number. Your DOT number, Department of Transportation, that allows you to drive intrastate. Intrastate is within state lines. That's active immediately. Your MC number takes 21 days. So I've talked to people down there personally who worked there, retired from there. I was told that 21 days was put in place by the MOV when trucking became deregulated, and it was to stop people from getting into trucking because it was cutting into people's money. So that was a boundary that was fought for. If you call down there now, they're going to tell you that 21 days is in order for companies to refute your company. So you know when you get married and they say if anybody has any reason they shouldn't get married, speak now and forever hold your peace. Well, that's what happens with trucking companies. People can stop you from getting your. I've never heard of it happening. But that's what that 21 days is for. And that's a hard 21 days living in Maryland, because our state is shaped funny. It's up and down. You can drive 50 miles and be in Pennsylvania, Delaware, West Virginia, Virginia, or DC. So that limits your first month. So be prepared for that, because you may potentially be starting off a month behind or just making enough money to get through them 21 days until you can really get the rolling. Save $10,000 maintenance fund. Run a full year. The seasons in trucking. Before, I can't stop y'all from doing it. You're going to get out there, start making some money, and that itch is going to be burning, and you're going to want to get drivers because you think you duplicate yourself, no matter what I told you. Run a full year before you do it, because you need to see the full season. There's ups and downs in trucking. Right now, we're in the slow season. Between December the 15th all the way up until the end of February, mid-March is the downtime. Universally with all different types of trucking. So vans, flatbeds, and reefers. Paperwork and filing. So it's two things that'll break you. One thing will break your spirit. Paperwork will knock you out the game if you ain't on top of it, because it'll shut your whole system down. Because you ain't gonna have active authority. And that stuff can be paid for, like he was talking to you. You ain't gotta be sitting filing this and filing that. Pay somebody door. Do you with the money you gonna miss wasting the whole day doing all this filing, you could have did a $2,000-3,000 load. And you knock on the door just because you're trying to save $200. It's your choice. But paperwork can knock you out the game. That'll break you. Maintenance will break you and break your spirit, because it'll make you not want to do it no more. Maintenance will come and pile up so much and at the most inconvenient times that it'll make you want to quit. And you got to keep going, because money is still out here. It's a part of life. And if you follow this the right way, you'll be prepared when that stuff happens. You understand what I'm saying? Inspections. Not state inspections, but inspections. So once a year, you're supposed to have an inspection. I believe Maryland, every state is different, but I believe Maryland, every 25,000 miles or every quarter, you're supposed to have a DOT inspection. But from my perspective, you need to have a DOT inspection, because there's some things that you are not going to see as a driver. Prime example, the mechanic I just gave you. I had 3 roll calls yesterday. First 2 quit. I changed all 4 of the batteries on the side of the road. Cold as hell out there. You know what I'm saying? All for the last mechanic to come and say, this wire is loose at the bud connector. There's things that a mechanic sees that you don't see. And the reason you need to be on top of them inspections is so they can point them out, because small problems will turn into big ones. And you will get fucked on the side of the road in a town you've never been in. We got one, boss. They don't know you, don't have no connection to you, unless you run across some sincere soul that's truly living to help people and using that gift as a mechanic to bless the world, which is rare. You be prepared to pay. Local drivers gross less money, but they can, in some situations, make more money because they keep more money. I worked for a company as an owner-operator before called Big Boys. We were spending $150, $200 a week max in diesel. We were leaving out the port, delivering right around the corner, not even a mile. All right, you making $2,500, $2,800, $3,200. You ain't spending no maintenance because you ain't going nowhere. You only spending $200, which I'll get into here. The owner-operator field is very dangerous because it's so comfortable. You can live a good life as an owner-operator and get all the trappings of success and be what I talk about over here, hood rich. I don't teach people how to be trucking millionaires, as all these guys are telling y'all. Why? Because I'm not a millionaire, and I don't qualify to teach you something that I haven't demonstrated through my own personal life. If you're trying to learn how to make a few $100,000 a year, keep half of it, buy all the shit you want, make your house nice and comfortable, and live a semi-luxurious life depending on what your status of luxurious is. Have a couple cars, some tools, some toys, and not be living balls to the wire every week. Then I can show you how to do that. But I'm not about to sit up here and lie to y'all and tell y'all I'm gonna make y'all all these millions. And it's not true. And it's not true with a lot of these guys. They're selling y'all information because y'all are making them millionaires. All right. Audits. You're going to be audited your first year. So, and another thing about the millionaire stuff. Anywhere between 4 to 7 trucks, 5 to 7, you can gross $1 million. You really don't even need that. But I'm counting on the fact that you're not going to be fully staffed a year. But you're not keeping $1 million. With drivers, you're not going to keep the bulk of the money with drivers. You're going to keep a slither. When you own and drive your truck, you take care of it, and you get your ass up and go to work every day. So you gross more, you spend less on maintenance, and you keep a bigger slice of the pie. Drivers are going to drain you in maintenance and lack of work. Every single time you turn around, they got a reason to not work. Then as soon as they get a big check, they think they rich. Now it was Monday morning, they not answering the phone because they in the hotel, geeked out their mind. Been getting high all weekend. Or now they think they rich and want to go to whatever island because now they think they cute, they getting some attention because now they got some money. Now the money they have now, they find stuff to do with it, and that stuff ain't got nothing to do with working and making you successful. So just be mindful of that. I done said this over a dozen times. If you want to go out and get drivers, go ahead. Do you. But I'm telling you, if you're not already in it and you stuck in it and you got to make the most of it, don't run out and jump into it. Do your own thing and you're going to keep the bulk of the money. You're going to find yourself working in order for somebody else to have a job. And they're going to be sucking your family dry while you busting your ass so they can continue to be employed. And all the money you thought was extra pocket money because they working and paying for your truck, no. It's the opposite. You're going to be working in order to pay for the maintenance for them. Don't believe the hype. It's bullshit. Don't have those high expectations. He told you, right? Then the last thing is enjoy. Once you start getting out here and making money, enjoy this shit. I've been everywhere in this country. I've been to every single state. Now, I'm not talking about driving through. I'm talking about stopping, going parachuting, parasailing, snowboards, rock climbing, then all type of stuff. Jet skis, snowmobiles, all type of stuff I would have never even thought of coming from Bel Air Road, Northern High School, you know what I'm saying, Lake Clifton, and I've been everywhere and tried all this stuff, and the majority of the people I grew up with ain't never left the city unless they was going to Hagerstown or Cumberland or some prison somewhere. And that was my goal, and I accomplished it. So that's why I'm transferring and about to come off the road, because I did what I wanted to do. And you start, let me spill some game on you. When people talking to children, they don't grow up too fast. Well, why? Because what will happen is you get it too fast, and the joy is gone. How many times can you do the same thing over and over and over again? So if you get stuff too fast, in a year and a half, I traveled to more places and stopped and did more events and extreme activities than some people do in their whole life. Most people only go on vacation once or twice a year. I did that every single week for a year and a half. And that's not even including the rest of the years that I was out there. That's when that was my goal. Some of the wildest nights you can imagine. We're not talking about that. Let's get into that. I'm telling you because we adults. When you no, I started showing y'all the stuff I was doing as of recent. I separated business and personal until I realized that that's a part of trucking, and y'all needed to see that. The stuff I was doing on my personal page is just completely different. Y'all, I'm toned down. I don't even really have no fun like that. I did it. All right, so let's get started. It's 3 levels in trucking: company driver, owner, operator, owner, authority. There's 4 phases. You want to get your CDL, get 3 to 6 months of experience, become an owner operator either by cash or lease purchase in order to save up $15,000 to get the other half. The truck is the first half. The second half is your trailer and your insurance down payment. Do not activate your authority if you don't have a trailer. Why? Because you're going to get stuck in this power-only realm where everybody's fighting for loads. And you're going to be making owner-operator money. And you're going to be beating your chest because I got my authority, which means absolutely nothing. The only thing that matters at the end of the day is what you bring home. All that other stuff is an ego trip. Don't activate your authority until you get a trailer. When you look on a load board under power only, you're seeing a dozen loads. When you get your authority, when you look under trailers, you're seeing 3, 4, 5,000 loads to pick from. Under each different category, dry vans, reefers, and flats. It's going to make life a whole lot less stressful. Then once you get your authority activated, you got your truck, your trailer, your authority activated. Get your maintenance fund together so you can get out of some of these jams. Because they're going to come, and they don't come when you want them. They come at the least expected time, the most inconvenient time, and I'm telling you, it will break your spirit and make you want to quit. I've been through 19, 20 trucks. I'm telling y'all from experience, I've been through 2 fleets. All right, so I'm telling y'all from fleets as an owner-operator and from fleets with my own authority. Y'all can get drivers if y'all want to. This ain't back in the day where people didn't have information at their fingertips, where people wasn't going out getting authority. Drivers don't need trucking companies. Trucking companies need drivers. All right, unless you got some type of restriction on your license, you should never have not have a job. So that's the beginning, that's the end. We're gonna go to each individual step. Number 1, don't nobody go out there and buy no truck without no CDL. You did the right thing. Not only do you know how to drive as a backup in case somebody quit. I had a guy call me. I used to make people call and let me know they was loaded. He called me, I reloaded. I'm like, all right, cool. You on your way to Chicago. I'm laid back. I'm doing my load. And the broker calling me. I'm calling him, no answer. I'm in Chicago coming back. This is when we was running the Baltimore, Chicago train. So, long story short, he left. I'm trying to find the truck. And the broker trying to find the load, and I'm getting no answer. This joker went home, parked the truck, and rolled out. That's one of my experiences. You know how many people I done talked to who trucks them came up missing? They find them weeks later, no rims, no engines, no tires. You need to have your CDL because drivers are not dependable. And if you like me, you don't like depending on people anyway. So you have to be able to jump in there. Or say your truck is parked somewhere. Whenever I get decals, I always put my phone number on it. It's not required. Only thing you need is your name, MC, and DOT number. I put my phone number on the side of the truck because if somebody needs something, they can call me. Hey, your truck got us blocked in. We about to call the tow truck. Do you want to pay a driver to get out their bed to go move a truck? Or it's Friday night. You just paid them. They ain't answering the phone. They gonna look at it. What this fool want? I know he wants something. Move some shit. Ain't nobody about to get out of bed to fuck with you after they just got 1,500, 1,800. They out somewhere getting drunk or high, and even if they in that state of mind, you don't even want them touching the truck. Or you could need to go to a mechanic. Every time you need a little shift here, there, you don't want to have to pay somebody. You know what I'm saying? So you want a CDL, the legal structure. You can get a INC, LLC, sole proprietorship, all this shit. They talking all this generational wealth and trust and all of this stuff, which is good. That's good information, but not calling y'all poor. I'm speaking in general. They giving poor people, rich people information. You ain't got hundreds of thousands of dollars, or you ain't fumbling millions from here to there. A lot of that stuff, people trying to get to next week. See what I'm saying? Get your LLC. If you do an INC, you can self-start to your company. That's great. That's wonderful. I'm a big boy. You got to hold meetings every year, and you got to mark the minutes of the meetings, and you got to have a corporate structure set up. So when people come check your company out, it's more requirements. If you do an LLC, it's more simpler. It separates you to a degree from your business in case you get sued or something. I got sued for $60,000 for an accident I wasn't guilty for. But I was on the road, didn't get my mail in time, didn't do the court thing. They won, started hitting me up for money. So this is stuff that happens. Maryland ain't the safest state as far as separating business and personal, but that legal structure helps you. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to give you legal advice because I don't want to be liable for it, and I'm on the court, and somebody can come back and try to sue me for that. But do some research and look into different states where there's more protection. I know a lot of people like Delaware, a lot of people like Nevada, because you have more protection, but do your own research. An LLC will allow you to separate your taxes or keep them together. You can file all your gross business and file that as your business, as your personal, or you can pay yourself a salary and pay business taxes here and personal taxes here. It's a choice, but the LLC gives you that option, and you don't have all the legal restrictions as the INC. The EIN number, that's free. Go to the IRS website. Now some of these fools selling services. You go on there, you're going to need your EIN number along with your articles of incorporation from your legal structure in order to open a business bank account. And every application that you do, hey, what's up, son? Every application that you do, you're going to need an EIN number in order to get credit and things of that nature, which we're going to get into down here. And forgive me for rushing. I had more time with them earlier. I got to have y'all out of here at 7. She called me. But your EIN number is free, and you're going to need it. Keep your articles of incorporation from your legal structure. Get your EIN. And all of this stuff, you don't need to know it. I didn't do this stuff. I paid people. I'm here showing y'all because if I'm dealing with someone, not saying y'all don't have it, I'm saying if someone does it and they starting with limited money, I'm saving y'all the money from having to pay for somebody if you have or don't have it. Operating authority. Your operating authority is 2 things. That's your MC and your DOT number. Your DOT number allows you to drive intrastate. All right? That's going to cost you $300. That book over there, I paid a retired federal motor carrier employee who was still hired at the time to fill out the application for you. It has all the information on there. You can pay somebody to do it, but you don't have to. You can do it in less than a half an hour. It's going to give you your DOT number and your MC number, which allows you to cross state lines. Your DOT is intrastate, in-state. The MC is cross state lines. Once you get your operating authority, it's not active. You have it. It's not active until you get insurance. But what I want you to do once they give you the actual numbers is to go into the load board. Why? Because just like I showed you, you can look on the load board and see the actual loads there and get familiar with the lanes and have a realistic idea of the money that you're going to be making so you can stay motivated, so you can be emotionally attached to what you're about to get, and excitement and eagerness, which is going to have you walking towards your goals, which is going to be bringing it towards you, and you'll be manifesting them in your life like I did. Also, you don't want to wait till the last minute to get on the load boards because then you're going to be fumbling around. You got a truck, you're trying to figure out how to do rate confirmations, you're trying to figure out how to do carrier packets and all this stuff at the last minute when you could have been practicing that stuff early on in the game and been familiar and know exactly how much you're going to make, exactly how to navigate and pick loads so you don't need dispatches. I'm not talking bad on you. What I'm saying is this is why you don't need them, because it's so simple. All right, it creates. Huh?
You own dispatch. What are you doing like that?
Right. That's true. That's exactly my point. So you're gonna want to know this stuff. Insurance companies are gonna disagree with me on this, but I'm not here for insurance companies. I'm here for y'all. Find a truck and a trailer and call them, excuse me, a truck and a trailer that you like, that's within your budget. Call them, get the year, make, model, and VIN number. Why do you need that? Because you're going to need it for an insurance quote. There's no point in you buying a truck and trailer and then you think you're about to be doing your own thing and you ain't got money for the insurance down payment. That's going to be $3,000 to $5,000 average. If you got some issues, it could be more. Your driving record messed up, your credit messed up. It could be more, but generally $3,000 to $5,000 to get you in. My first one was $2,700. All right. When you start getting out here doing whatever you want to do, like we're going to talk about down here with these inspections, that will raise. My last one, I was paying $3,500 a month. So you want to stay on top of your inspections, but we're going to get into that in a minute. But that's going to, a lot of this stuff, these renegade rules are going to raise your safety score. When your safety score raises, it's going to change your insurance, and that's going to take a big chunk of your money. You know what I'm saying? You're talking paying $3,500 now, I'm paying $1,700 a month. My down payment was $2,700, but I was paying $1,700 a month. That's double. Somebody could pay a $1,700 mortgage. So that's what doing your own thing gets you. When you're running with no logs, running scales, got minor things wrong with the truck or trailer, and you worried about delivering the load, or you had a driver went doing pre-trips and you get pulled over, even if they give you a warning, that still goes on your file. This is what they don't tell you. And they go by 100 percentile. So if you get pulled over one time and fail, that means you failed 100% of your inspections. And that's going to put you over the national average, which is going to make you an unsafe company. which is gonna make some brokers don't wanna deal with you, and so on and so forth. So you wanna stay on top of your maintenance and you're driving legalities. I mean, we are out here, this is a renegade sport. People want to do what they want to do. But I'm not here to tell y'all to do wrong. I'm here to help y'all. But try to minimize what you're doing or do wrong correctly, if I can say that. But I will talk to y'all one-on-one about that. But keep you some type of laws or something, because that shit is going to fuck you up and it's going to cost you a lot of money in insurance. Once you find your truck and trailer, you call in and get your insurance quote. They're going to give you a quote. Now you know I can afford this. There's no point of you activating your operating authority and don't have a trailer. You want to count the cost before you get started. Once you know you can afford it, then you go back and get the truck and trailer because you know that you can afford the insurance down payment. If you can't, you're going to have to stay here and own the operator around. It's not worth having a truck, just a truck as a power owner. You can make the same profit as an owner operator. You're gonna make more money seemingly, but paying $2,000 insurance versus paying $150 bobtail a month insurance is a big chunk of money, a difference just to say you got your own company. Vehicle state inspections. Unless you buying a brand spanking new truck off the assembly line, they don't need state inspections to get tags. If you buying any type of used truck, even if the state say they DOT inspected it, when you get home, your state has to inspect it in order for you to get tags. Most people buy trucks from out of state, so you're going to have to go through that. Your portion plates. You're going to need several things for your portion plates. Now, all of y'all that was on the 85 list got this book here that I made for you. Alright, first thing, you're going to have to create an IRP account. So it's not like a car. You're going to have to go down there. Your portion plates or your IRP is your international registry. That is the communication between all the states that, say you're going to another state, they communicate with each other. Another state ticket can kill your license here, or it'll follow your company back. So they've agreed to communicate with each other. That IRP account is not going to cost you much. That's going to be done with your title work. You have your state inspection. They do have temporary plates for trucks, but you don't need them when you're going through that inspection, please. Like I said, this is a renegade sport. You driving a mile here, mile there, shop to shop. You don't have to get it. You should have it, but you don't need it. You're going to have to pay your heavy highway use tax, which is $22.90. That's not your IFTA. Your IFTA is the tax you pay. They broke it down to me like this. Where did you earn and where did you burn? Every state that you drive through, those miles on those roads had to be taxed. And the fuel you bought there has to be taxed. If you run local and run all of your miles in Maryland, there is no tax. Why? Because you paid it at the pump in the form of fuel tax. Your sales taxes, that was already paid. So when you file your IFTA quarterly, you just pay a $50 filing fee. But you have to run all your states, your miles within that state, and purchase your fuel within that state. Then if you're on operator, you're gonna need a lease agreement. Or if you're running under your own authority, you can say that you lease to yourself. But if you're on operator, like most people go for company driving on operator, they're gonna have to provide you with a lease agreement. And if you're making one for yourself, it's not hard. You can email something, a couple sentences, 2-3 sentences, and screenshot it, and you're good. What we at? $22.90. That's a heavy highway use tax. That's gonna cost you about $5.50. You pay that when you get your tags. You're gonna sometimes you don't have to pay it up front, or they're gonna estimate it because you don't even know how many miles you're gonna run. But that's gonna run you about $5.50. All this is a part of the tag process. The IFTA, the International Fuel Tax Agreement. All the states are part of IFTA except for New Mexico and Oregon. New Mexico would allow you to buy a fuel permit for driving on their roads when you enter that state. Oregon won't. They want you to buy your permit before you enter the state. So depending on how many miles you want to run, it could be $40 up to $100, $200. It's not much. It's gonna get you through for a couple days. You get them 3, 4. You tell them how many days you're gonna run through a state. But with your IFTA, it has to be paid. Excuse me. You can pay it quarterly. It's due quarterly, but you have to pay it every year. You can't go longer than a year without paying your IFTA because then they're gonna freeze your account. That's the sticker that you put on the side of your truck. You get your IFTA stickers for free. Factoring companies, most brokers are going to pay you on a net 30. It could be net 25. Some of them have quick pay. I use factoring companies, and I suggest you do one because they're going to give you a fuel card, which is going to save you money on the startup costs. Also, factoring companies keep a ledger of every single load that you do. So when you go to buy stuff, or you're doing taxes, or you need a profit and loss statement or something of that matter, you can call them and say, hey, I need something. And I email it to you, as opposed to you going and calling 150 brokers because you did a load for somebody different every single day, or every other day, or once a week, or whatever it is you're doing. They keep all that stuff in one file, and they work as a secretary for you, as opposed to a factoring company going to be 1.5% up 5%. It shouldn't be no more than 5, really 4.5. But imagine how much you got to pay a part-time employee just to keep your books. They can collect them for you and keep a neat, nice ledger and give you fuel cards. And the fuel can be used as double fuel and maintenance. Most factoring companies have fuel cards that's not credit-based, that's based on you factoring with them because they receive your money before you even get it. So it'll be taken out of your settlement before you receive your funds from them. Some of them pay you within an hour of delivering the load. Some of them pay you within a day. I remember when I was with Loves, if I got my paperwork in by 11, my money be in my account by the next morning. I use Task now. They'll pay me in an hour. So you got a $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 load, you don't have to wait to get paid. They'll pay you right on it. Also, just a side note, still some game. When you're starting off, and I'm going to talk about that when I get down to the 21 days, brokers will give you a fuel advance if you need it. All right? You can get up to 40% of fuel advance. So I'm going to talk more about that when I get into the 21 days. Also, factoring companies will give you loans as well. They're handling your money. They know how much you make. Some of them, they have fuel, maintenance. Some of them have sales companies for equipment. They'll give you loans. Some of them will give you cash just to get out of a jam. You can get loans from them for fuel if you ever get into a jam. These are things that you may need because it's going to come times where it's going to get real tight. It's going to get hard before it get better because that's how life tests you to see if you really want what you're going after. That's for anything. You're always going to get tested before you get to the next level. Right now, this is my first solo speaking engagement. I've spoken different places, but this is my first time all day. My truck is on the side of the road right now, 10 miles before I got to Baltimore. I've been dealing with that since Friday. I ain't even get to sleep in my bed. But that's the test. Now it's fixed. Why? Because I didn't quit and go home and say, fuck it. They'll be all right. I got to do this. No, I kept with the program, came and did what I had to do because I'm obligated to y'all, and everything is done. So when I leave here, I'm going to get my truck, get down to Texas, and keep it rolling. But this is how life tests you. You get into a new relationship, all these girls wouldn't even think about you. Now you get phone calls from everybody. Wow, that's the enemy coming to try to block your blessing. It's not just relationships. It's anytime you go into, think about people got kids, they got video games. Before you get to the next level, you have to beat the challenge at the end. Then you get to another level. But guess what? This is right. And it's a higher level and it's more challenging. Right? So that's the way life is in general. It's a big old circle. So you gotta be mindful of that. Fuel cards. Every truck stop has fuel cards, and there's a whole slew of companies that have fuel cards. I suggest getting as many as possible. Manage them correctly because they want their money back. Also, it'll ease the pain of startup if you're putting up every single dollar to get your truck. I often tell the story. My first truck, I had just enough money to get it. I would do that, man. I ain't trying to work with nobody. I'm tired of this shit. Dave Chappelle said, I can't take this shit no more. Yeah, and that's what I did. I took every dollar I had, got a truck. I ain't even had money for fuel, tolls, or nothing. I got home. My angels must have been carrying me. I ran out of gas on my way to work my first day. I was living on Caroline Street. I parked on Dallas Street, which is slanted. Yeah. All my fuel was shifted to the other tank. Right before I hit North Avenue, I cut off. And somebody was looking out the window. Miss Angie came and got me, took me, got me some diesel. Enough to get to work. I got to work, got the fuel card from them. I was on operated down the port. Got some fuel with that fuel card, got the rolling, and now we here. So I'm telling y'all this because it's challenges y'all gonna go through. Life ain't picking on you. It's not an individual thing. Everybody going through shit, and everybody is going to get tested before they get where they're going. That's just the way life is. If you ain't built for it, you're not gonna get that. If people see people at their peak and say, I want what they got, you don't know what they had to do to get that. And I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about in general. You see people in that limelight, you ain't see people in the grip. You know what I'm saying? Fuel cards, charge accounts. Along with factoring companies giving you fuel and maintenance cards, along with getting fuel and maintenance cards from either major truck stops or fuel card providers, charge accounts. Every single trucking franchise, Kenilworth, Peterbilt, International, all these guys, they got shops. You can get accounts with them. You can get accounts for maintenance where they give you a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 line of credit where you can go in there and get your stuff fixed and pay them as a line of credit. Tool companies would get Harbor Freight, Fleet Pride, Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart. All these places will give you either a personal or business line of credit, which will help you ease the pain if you're starting with every single dollar invested, or even if you're not, because it's going to help either build your personal credit or your business credit. And if you don't have business credit in the beginning, it'll help you establish personal credit to get you to a level where they are comfortable giving you business credit. And I tell this story a lot. My first company, my first fleet as I owned and operated, I filed bankruptcy. I was like 200 and something grand. I had 18 high-powered credit cards. So that's, when you see these guys selling this stuff saying you can get these X amount of 100,000 cards, it's true. What they're not telling you is that you gotta have your personal credit together before you can get there. And if you don't have your personal, your business credit A1 in the beginning, or you're not set up right and all your addresses and phone numbers and stuff matching, they're gonna use you as a personal guarantor. So if your personal shit ain't right, they're not giving you no business credit unless you go on to some of these sideline places with like trade accounts where you can only spend the money with them and they report it, and then you. But it's all type of tricks and stuff that I took credit cards and seminars and books and all that stuff. I'm not a credit expert, and the laws continuously change. I'm here to talk about trucking. You can do some research on that, but that stuff is true. It does work, but there's some things that they're not telling you. Where are we at? Charge accounts. Maintenance tires. You know, you can get an account with tire places, Goodyear and all this stuff, where when the tires wear down to a certain tread level, you can go in there and just get the tires swapped out. They're not going to put you on no plan where you get nails and all of this stuff, but if you stick up with the maintenance regimen, you can continuously get tires and you get them at a significant discount through charge accounts when you buy and spending all your money with one person. Work 21 days because you got your CDL, your legal structure, your authority up, your truck, your trailer, your insurance. You're in there with the load board, you're factoring loads, you got fuel cards so you can run. When you file your authority, that DOT number is active immediately, but your MC number is not. And I didn't know that. I took every dollar and thought I was about to get straight to the money, and it was put on hold. And holidays don't count toward that 21 days. So that was a real rough month because we in Baltimore. If I was in Pennsylvania, you can drive 6 hours from Philly to Pittsburgh. But our state is shaped different, so be prepared for that. So it was a struggle, which is good because it's going to allow you to learn how to book loads and deal with paperwork while things are slow, as opposed to being at a fast pace. You see what I'm saying? Because you're only going to be doing 20, 30-mile runs. what I'm saying? Unless you're going from like Salisbury, Eastern Shore up to Cumberland, which is not going to be, that's not what's going to be happening. You're going to be doing $400 or $500 loads that's going to get you through the month. And then once the levee break, then you can roll. I was balls to the wire. Once my shit opened up, I took a $6,000 load. It was a big load back then. And I got a 40% fuel advance that put money in my pocket. I had money coming in from the load. I never looked back. I saved $24,000 within my first 3 months. Then I started, which I should not have did if somebody would have told me. But I'm telling y'all, I started buying trucks, big beautiful trucks, $90-something thousand, $45,000 trailers, buying 2 at a time every month. Up until I got to a point where they would give me 5 trucks and trailers at a time. I went from 1 to 7 trucks within 9 months. I would have been at 12 if I would have went back and got them. I signed for them, was approved for them, they was mine. I don't have time for grown ass men that ain't really about it. And I put too much time and effort in for me to babysit grown men. So I left the drivers alone. This is my personal experience. Yours may be different. I don't qualify to tell you different because I'm not doing different. And I would be a liar. I can only tell you what works for me. Your experience may be different, but from talking to thousands of people, it's not. And there's people in this room that own trucks that can tell you keeping drivers is the whole problem. Truck is money in trucking, but if you ain't got nobody rolling the wheels, that shit don't mean nothing. It's like a gun without a bullet. It looks shiny. You can spit shine and wave it around, but you ain't about to hurt nothing. You ain't making no money without no driver. You know what I'm saying? Once your authority breaks open, you pass that 21 days, save $10,000, either cash or credit. 10 that gets you out of most jams. Usually you're not gonna have to spend that much unless somebody deemed you as a sucker. I'm not saying anybody's a sucker, but in someone's eyes, they think they got an easy lick somebody who don't know anything about trucking or truck mechanics. They will juice you for every single dollar. If you purchase your truck correctly, your engine, transmission, and rears should be covered under your warranty. There are some shifty people that will try to dip and dodge warranties, or if you did some alterations that you should not have done, it can void a warranty. But normally you're talking about $300-400 fixes, $900 here, maybe $1,500. You running all your tires, maybe $3,000, but that's rare. You normally looking at a couple hundred here, a couple hundred there, and you back on the road. If you got an older truck, you got newer trucks, they got a lot of sensor problems and all of that shit. It's gonna start costing you more. They're gonna start getting into diagnosis and all that. And don't fall for this. Newer trucks don't have less problems. You can buy a brand new truck off the assembly line and you still gonna be in the shop. And guess what? You can't take that Joe that been fixing shit all his life. You gotta go to the dealer. And the dealer is like a hospital. They're gonna take you 2-3 days just to look at it. Then they're gonna tell you it was a whole day to do diagnostics when the computer did it in 15 minutes. Then 3 weeks done went past and your truck is sitting because they don't need your money. They got plenty of clientele. So you're gonna have a lot of downtime with brand new trucks. It's good to have a, what you call it, a maintenance, not a maintenance. I ain't ate all day, y'all. I ain't wanna have to use the bathroom while I was up here, so I just been drinking. It's good to be set up with a rental company before you need one. Because when your truck is down, you still need to be rolled, because that insurance still need to be paid. And they want their couple $1,000 every month. And truck insurance ain't like car insurance. Once that shit is up, you done. And if you one trick, it's a loophole. You got a 17-day grace period after your insurance is not paid and they cancel it. You can still run within that 17 days and they're legally responsible for you. Okay, that will give you time to hurry up and get some money to get you another down payment, because some things that happen in an inconvenient time. I'm telling y'all, it's not always up. But if you don't deal with the sacrifices, you're not going to be able to benefit in the times when it is up. You're just going to be stuck on a paycheck hamster wheel. And when them times come in, when you bringing the sevens home and keeping them, you're not going to be able to partake. You're going to be stuck at $1,200, $1,500, $1,800 a week because you're scared of a maintenance bill where if you managing it correctly, you'll be able to be prepared for it and move on. It's also a good idea to have a spare truck. You don't need tags on a second truck if it's parked somewhere securely. If your truck go down, you can go onto the NBA business portal and transfer your tag from one truck to another. It's not gonna cost you nothing. That way you can hop out of the truck, get into another one. It's good to have a $10,000-$12,000 day cab sitting somewhere. Don't take up a whole lot of space. You want to make sure you start it up every now and then and run around the block or something and keep some fresh fuel or put some algae eater or some type of fuel storage. Get you some, what's that stuff cost? It's in the white can. No, well, Lucas has a product.
Seafoam?
There you go. Put some seafoam in there so your fuel don't get stale and start it up, because if you don't use it, you lose it. Anything you don't, if you don't use your arm and it start to can, that's why when you got a cast on, you take it off, your arm is so small. Trucks and equipment is the same way. So you gotta use it, start it up, let it run. And when you get in the jam, you got a spare truck you can come to. So this is very valuable. A rental truck gonna run you about $2,000 a week.
Do you have to get that inspected to get a spare truck?
You know what? I don't know. And the reason why is because the truck I had as a spare was already inspected and tagged. Went in the shop and I bought another truck. And when that truck was in the flood, I switched it back to the other truck. That's how I know you can switch tags. Tags gonna run you about $1,800 to get started. And it's good to put all states. Your portion tag is a portion of a state. In every state that you're going through, you want to put all states on there instead of limiting yourself. Had to deal with that stuff later. But I don't know, and I don't want to sit here and tell you something I don't know, because my situation didn't require me to learn that, so I don't know. Where we at? Oh yeah, say your $10,000 run a full year, you're gonna need to see a whole entire year to get a real picture. So I lied to y'all. Not in not telling the truth, but not telling you the whole story. My first truck did $277,000 that first year, but that was my truck. I was rapidly gaining trucks. I did like 400-something thousand that year. I'm telling y'all, my truck did, not collective with them, because I would be giving you a false idea, making it seem like I made 400-something grand back in 2018 when the company made that. But I'm trying to give y'all an idea, because I've learned that you don't need all of them trucks. And you need a realistic idea of what one truck will do for you. And I'm telling you, it's money in trucking. Don't believe these guys. They have a hard time because they made bad decisions. They got a truck, started a company, thought they were rich, went and bought the biggest bighorn pickup truck they can buy, and got all of this shit and went and bought houses and whatever they did too fast, and now shit hitting the fan and they can't keep up because their personal life is eating away from the trucking income. Alright? If your personal life is too high in expenses, it's going to eat up all your business money. I'm telling you. That's why I tell these guys, if I was 18 again, I would go to North American, do a dual program. Diesel mechanic and CDL. You're not going to be able to drive a truck and go back to school for your diesel mechanic. When you start driving, you're married to a truck. Understand this. You're allowed to work 14 hours in a day, right? Of that 14, you can drive 11. Half of a day is 12 hours. If you're trying to get to it, which most drivers are, you running over hours. I hate to say it. I don't know nobody that run hours. That's 12 hours of the day. That's half of your day. Your days equal your life. You married to the truck. Then when the truck ain't working, you fixing it. And you want to sit there with the mechanic. Oh, it's 7 o'clock already? Oh my goodness. We almost done. I got a couple more things. Then you sitting there with the mechanic and you want to stay there and watch the mechanics, because there's sometimes there could be something wrong and they lied to you. This one nothing but a wire on my truck right now. I replaced a $4,700 ECM before for the same wire 2 years ago. That's how I knew my ECM wasn't bad when the first guy computer said it wasn't communicating. Because I know it's brand new. But a shop would have told me I had to replace it. Where we at? Paperwork and filings. What's that, 18? Like I told y'all, it's two things that's gonna break you. One thing gonna break you and break your spirit. Paperwork will break you because it can stop your company. There's a couple things you need to file. You need to file your IFTA every quarter or once a year at the least. There's one filing, it's a biannual filing. You gotta do that every 2 years. It sounds fancy. All it is updating your name and address with the FMCSA because they need to know how to contact you in case you do something out of order, somebody get in an accident, they got tickets or anything that they need to send to you. The FMCSA needs to know how to contact you in case somebody or them is contacting them about you or they need to contact you. Your BOC3, that's a processor agent. It sounds like it's something extraordinary. It's not. Most of your insurance companies are going to file that when they file your insurance with SAFE or put you on the FMCSA website, or you can designate yourself. A designation of agent is telling you who's in your company is allowed to receive and answer paperwork on your behalf. If they need filings, if they send tickets or anything that needs to be updated, you can pay somebody to do this stuff or you can do it on your own. But it's not something complicated. And also, I had more time earlier. I went through all this. Once I get the recordings, I'm going to share it with all y'all so y'all will have everything. And forgive me for that. I should have did my times a little bit different. Yeah, apportion plates. You're going to do your tags once a year. That's $1,800, give or take. Your state business filings, whether you got to pay your state to be in order. Every state is different, but you do have to pay for your authority every year. I believe it's $80. And there's business fees that you have to pay with your state in order for your business to stay in good standing, along with your state taxes. Where we at? Your DOT inspections. Mechanics have an eye that y'all not gonna have. Put yourself on the DOT regimen every 90 days, 45 days, once a month. It'll cost you $109, give or take, depending on where you go to get your truck and your trailer inspected. If you got an older truck, which I suggest, I don't like newer trucks, you're going to be getting a PM, which is a preventative maintenance, which is a fancy name for oil change for trucks, every 10 to 12,000 miles. That's about once a month, depending on how you run. It could be less, but generally around once a month. When you go in there and tell them give you a DOT inspection, it's an extra $100, but it's going to save you here. I'm telling you, this is a renegade sport. When you get out here, you got a light out, you got a tire, got a bald spot, you ran a scale, all of this stuff, and they pull you in and start checking your truck and find something small. Even if they give you a warning, it's going to raise your safety score, which is going to raise your insurance costs. And I'm telling you, I got put out of service one time because the airline and my brakes was rubbing together and it had an abrasion. There was no metal shown or anything, but there was a abrasive rubbing mark. And they put me out of service for that. And that goes towards your safety score and raises your insurance, which would take you from paying $1,700 a month to $3,400 a month, which I could have been living in a house twice the size that I live in. I'm not saying my house is small because it's not. What I'm saying is that money that I'm paying extra for not being on top of this in the beginning is costing me now. So if you can add up that extra $1,700 to $1,800 a month, what could you do with it? All right? I'm saying, so I mean, you gotta think. Every $100,000 on the house is $700 to $800 in the mortgage. So that's a $200,000 house I gave away. Why? Because I wasn't on this. Why? Because I was being a badass trucker, running how I wanted to, and fuck my safety scores up. And I'm warning y'all because nobody warned me, and it's gonna cost y'all. I'm giving away a $200,000 house because of my actions. You understand what I'm saying? So you want to stay on top of this because people who do your inspections, the maintenance mechanics, going to see stuff that you don't see. Audits, you're going to get audited every year. First one, your first year. After that, you can trigger an audit by having a safety score too high, like what I just talked about. It'll trigger an audit. Your first audit is educational. To see, is he or she doing what he's supposed to do? And if they're not, let's show them and tell them what they need to do so they can do it moving forward. When you start raising your safety scores, they can pull you in. I remember my last fleet, we was running wild. I'm telling you. I wasn't worried about safety, nothing. I was worried about, we got a driver? Book him, Danny. Yeah, and that shit cost me $6,000 when I failed my audit. Went in there butt naked. They kept calling me for an audit. I was stalling. They got to the point and say, look, if you don't come in here, we don't care if you're on the road or not. We shutting you down. Went in there and had nothing but my face, no logs, no paperwork, no inspections, nothing. They failed me. We did a corrective action plan. So if you fail an audit, it's not the end of the day. We did a corrective action plan. Got back in order, but they fined me. That cost me $6,000 for doing what I wanted to do. So as an adult, there's consequences to your actions. You can do whatever you want to do, but that doesn't. What they say, ignorance don't exempt you from the law. So just because you ain't know something was wrong and you did it, you still gonna have to pay for it. So be mindful of that. And get your DOT inspections. It's $100 that can save you thousands. I'm telling you, I'm giving away an extra $1,700. I got homeboys paying $1,200 a month. I'm giving away $1,700 a month. If I knew better, like I'm telling y'all, that's a $200,000 house. I could have a house in Florida. But because I wanted to be a badass, I'm paying the consequence. We got into the artists. Enjoy, 21. Once you start making this money, get out there and enjoy some shit. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen if you don't. You're going to be one of the old-ass truckers. You see them limping out the truck. They got the pot belly, which is another reason why I'm transitioning off the road. It's been 7 years. I saw it. I want you. It's an unhealthy lifestyle. You're going to gain a lot of weight, and it's unhealthy. You're sitting there all day, and your life is going to turn into bumping docks. And it's never going to stop. And it's a trap that you can get so used to being on the road that's your whole life. So while you're out there, stop and do some things, even if you're not out there, instead of flying some places and paying for. I remember my first time going to Vegas. I got $7,200 from Aberdeen to Vegas. I took some type of lighting equipment out there, some LED stuff or some solar stuff. So I paid like $2,500 in diesel. So I got all that money to go out there, went bungee jumping, drove race cars around, real race cars on racetracks. I went to the Grand Canyon, the Hoover Dam. I rode dune buggies in the desert. All of this stuff off of money that I was paid to go there. If I was working a regular job, I would have lost money taking off. I would have paid for a flight. I would have paid for hotels, which I got 2 beds in my truck. I sleep in there any other night. You understand what I'm saying? So that's one of the perks of it. So I had some fun while you're out there. And lastly, the golden rule, teach somebody, don't get on your high horse and start getting you some money. And then when somebody calls you, ask you something, you ain't got no time for them because you can't Jaffe Joe or Queen Nefertiti or whoever you think you is. God got a real funny way of humbling people. Pride come before destruction. He will pull the rug right from underneath you to show you that you are not the master of your fate, regardless of what some of these books and all this stuff tell you. There's certain situations in my life where I know for a fact that none of the facts added up, that I didn't qualify, that I wasn't in the right place at the right time, or I was in the wrong place at the right time, but still some type of way at the last minute, at the nick of time. What damn I say, it may not come when you call, but he always on time. That's how it works sometimes. And you reap what you sow, but you don't always reap where you sow. So don't do stuff for people expecting them to do something for you. Because if your intentions is wrong, you're not going to get nothing. But if you're doing it with a pure heart, what you put out into the world will come back to you someday. And if it don't come back to you, it'll come back to your kids. And even if it don't do that, you're doing what you're supposed to be here for. And somebody sometime helped you out. So the same way I'm helping y'all, when y'all get where y'all going, show somebody else, because that's how you pay me back. Somebody asked me, how much you want? How I pay you back? But you pay me by doing what I did for you to somebody else, because nobody did it for me. That's why I'm doing it for y'all. And now y'all got it, pass it on, get your money up. When people start saying you shining, buying, my last 3 sets of cars were matching cars. That's a sedan and the coupe. That's how I do it. You know what I'm saying? I done lived in buildings they didn't even want me in. Well, I'm telling you, downtown Houston, downtown Dallas, I'm telling you, 100% valet. I couldn't even park my own car. I used to live in 414 before they was even finished, right on the harbor, facing the harbor. You know what I'm saying? If we talking about the young man, come from Bel Air Road, Northern High School, been to prison, special education, barely read, shot close range. Grew up in NAAA. If anybody don't know that, that's Narcotics Anonymous, AA. I used to go. We used to live over top of one, matter of fact. So I know all that. I'm telling you what's possible. If we put it in perspective, let's say you make $3,000 a week. All right, take home. We dumb it down the numbers. That's $12,000 a month, right? So we just said that every $100,000 on a house is about $700-800. So let's take 3,000 of that and say you got a $300,000 house. That'll get you a halfway decent house somewhere, right? Most condos downtown, entry-level condos, gonna cost you $3-4. You get something a little nicer, a little upper, you're gonna be in like 5,000. That's gonna put you right in the center. That you can move down South Beach. I was looking before. I'm telling you, $3,000-4,000 a month, you can live right there. You can rent a lease if your credit and all that stuff is no. You can lease a Rolls Royce or a Bentley for $3,000-4,000 a month. You see what I'm saying? You toss in your utilities and your food and all of that stuff, and you tone down the way you dress, because you can get overboard with the clothes, and it can become addictive. But I'm saying as an example, somebody with their own truck can be living in the penthouse, driving the Bentley, eating good. That's the possibilities, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying go and do it. I'm just putting the amount of money that you make in perspective. I make more than $12,000 a week, and y'all can too. And I gotta respect her because she did me a solid and patronizing the business. So I gotta start changing up because we overtime. We supposed to stop at 7. It's 7:20. If anybody got any questions, take a picture of this because this is just the beginning. We're gonna be dealing with each other for years. If y'all got questions and stuff, please don't flood Instagram. I appreciate y'all contacting me on Instagram, but this is where the power is. Talk to me in person. Leave all that text stuff out of it. My phone number's on the front of that book. If you take a screenshot of it, that's my direct cell phone. That was the 4-slip text. So that's my actual cell phone. That's not Who is JJ Kelly?
I know, but I got to count them when I was saying,
Or oversized. You can flatbed, right?
Flatbed.
Right.
And I liquor. So, if you do that, so you can very commit. So, I'm sitting there, my driver's sitting outside, trying to get loaded. So, I was on the guy, it was $30.
Nobody will tell you that.
Nobody told me that.
Nah, you gonna say it next time.
I was gonna say it right now.
But normally what happens is, excuse me, this entry level information, this
They don't need that.
this ABC. What's gonna happen is people gonna call, say, hey, I'm in a jam, I got this oversized load. Where I go to get this, where I need that. So, because people will start talking by phone, they got problems, no problem. So that'll come up, and that's good. And actually, what I'll do is, that's the entry level agency. I'll get more into the technical side after that, because it's still more. That's not everything. That's all you need to get jump started. Because most people trying to make a couple $1,000, keep going. I gotta stop this thing.
Yeah, I ain't gonna stop nobody from speaking to you.
Nah, you good? Cause I gotta.
I'm shutting this down. I know you're running behind.